Is sex the cheat code?
Is sex a cheat code?
Yeah. Is it the cheat code? If you know how to get sex out of somebody.
Get sex out of somebody.
Make
trick them into sexing you?
Not just trick them, make them want to lose their inhibitions. You know what I mean? Like
open up their freak.
Why do groupies exist? You know, how
groupies exist.
Not just groupies.
Low self-esteem.
No. There's a lot of people that are fans of people just based on they're inspired.
Yeah, be fans of them, but not necessarily all just, swallow their children. You know what I mean? Just
why not? Maybe you're mesmerized by that person.
I'm just saying, I can be a fan of somebody and not want to fuck them.
True, but there is a power.
Nothing wrong with being a groupie either. I'm just saying I'm just answering the question. I'm not looking down on you. You want to fuck them. If just because somebody is whatever and you want to sleep with them, that's awesome. Do it. Be you. But, you could probably have a higher standard for who you want to fuck, probably, other than someone who's just like good at something.
You got to be a special kind of somebody to make a girl.
A groupie? Yeah.
Suck your dick on stage.
Yeah.
All right.
Special kind of groupie.
Eat pussy on stage.
Yeah, especially if you didn't want to or even had any interest in eating.
Bust it open.
Vagina. Well, that's dancing, so maybe not.
Strippers.
It's dancing,
Let me assimilate what I'm talking about right here.
You want to assimilate?
Assume.
Wait, hold up. Let's stop on. You're going to assume.
But I'm going to simulate my assume.
Wow. I'm lost in a deep, deep ocean of words that don't exist.
That's what Uncle Luke was lost in. And there's an ocean right next to Miami.
Oh, yeah.
And there's an ocean of pussy around the world.
Ooh.
And this man is the skipper. This man is the commander.
Talking about Luke?
The navigator. Uncle Luke Skywalker. Luther Campbell.
I'm by winning.
What is it about a man that can make not just a woman, but men lose their inhibitions on stage? You thought Elvis was gyrating?
You want to.
Until Uncle Luke came along and made your mother eat some pussy on stage. You know how many women there are right now that are mothers that were probably at an Uncle Luke show,
some crazy
Freak
stuff.
Nick, whatever, the Two Life Crew tour, and did some shit that she's probably proud of at the time, but probably not proud of now. Or at least she doesn't want her kids to know.
Yeah, man.
How do you find out?
How do you find out?
To ask your mom, are you an Uncle Luke fan? Yeah. And then you just got to be like, did you go to any of his shows?
You got to be honest, right? or hide it till you die. Which way you want to go? I'd be honest, but that's just me, because I probably wouldn't be in that situation to begin with. But if I was there at that time, I take that back. I may, get into some shit sometimes that isn't necessarily something I'd be proud of later. So, but I'd have to be honest about it, especially if it was happening. And I'd try at my later age to not judge. I'd try, like just now when I was about to judge, but then I think back to some time where I maybe wasn't as smart as I was.
Why don't we judge Uncle Luke like that? Why don't we? Do you think people look at him like I look at him like a fucking Hugh Hef? But I'm sure some people are disgusted by who he is or what he represents.
Well, people put their own perceptions and their own shit. They're looking through your own lens.
Yeah, but he's like how we were talking again about Miami, but we were talking about the porn industry in Miami,
Yeah.
And some people always look at those jobs like, oh my God, you're doing something.
It's taboo, right? You're fucking for money, right?
But in Miami,
that's how it's looked at. Again, in different parts of the world, it's just not looked at like that. Miami's but here it is whatever. Because that's the country we live in, and we live in the South, even if it's Miami.
Imagine that.
So
not even to mention, it's crazy like that in the South, but there is no real structure in the South, especially like the music industry. Mm-hmm. There was no structure at the time. Like we give praise to like James Prince from Rap
so
A Lot.
We're in the 91?
No, this is
89?
like 84 to 86. He starts to build this up, okay? Yeah. There's no Master P. There's no James Prince. There is a little bit of like Russell Simmons, all right? But Russell Simmons is partnered up with the big machine, the big music industry, because he's in New York, right? And New York is like the motherland of hip hop, right?
Yeah, the Mecca.
What's crazy is a lot of Jamaican influence in hip hop. DJ Big Herc or Cool Herc, right? In the Bronx, he brought that Jamaican culture with the big sound systems, and he's gonna start
the dancehall vibe,
right? So he brought that to, at the time in New York, right? There was these crazy block parties going on, and this is where hip hop started arising. So he would play the break beat, right, and then kids would start to break dance, and then that's where hip hop culture was birthed. But around the same time, another Jamaican in Miami, he's Jamaican, and his father's Jamaican, his mother's from I think the Bahamas or Barbados.
Oh man,
Island Man, and he's bringing this Miami bass, a new sound.
Oh yeah,
around this 10 years later, but still a forefather of new culture. And you're not like, you don't have anything. We're gonna find out that Luke was the guy that was bringing in all these New York artists to Miami and to Florida, and that's where he started getting an idea. Like,
culture.
I'm already breaking these records. I should start breaking my own records.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And changing the world. Absolutely changing the world.
We would never
pissing a lot of people off.
I think Luke single-handedly killed the slow dance.
Wow. Oh, like in the club? Like in the going out and slow dancing with your lady?
Do you remember
doesn't really happen much.
You remember when slow dances was cool at the dance?
At the dance,
was like,
man.
But then there was the other part of the dance when she was going to grind up on you.
Hell yeah, she was.
And it's because of Uncle Luke. Uncle Luke brought that to the party. Booty dancing, Doo-Doo Brown. That got a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm looking back. Looking back, that definitely changed the vibe of the night. Right? Yeah, it did.
In the 80s, they were really into reality rap, right? You had the Public Enemies talking about,
Police
black
brutality,
culture, white oppression, you know what I mean? Becoming a man, you know what I mean? And in the shadow of a crazy government that doesn't look at you as a man, right?
Right.
And then
or
you
look
had
like you at all.
NWA that was like fuck the police. But before even all that, you had Uncle Luke talking about sex.
Yeah, man.
And people were afraid about it. People were like, this.
Well, again, especially back then, wasn't what's the lady's name?
Madonna?
Nah.
She's like a virgin?
Never
They're around
mind.
the same time.
We're probably gonna see. I'll say that's who I was talking about. But she had a lot of problems with the way they were. She was in government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was a judge that was.
I did do my research.
Well, there was a judge in Miami that I think his name was Martinez, because there's a song called "Fuck Martinez."
Oh man.
And it's about this federal judge that's trying to throw them in jail for obscenity laws. Like, imagine that. Like
this is some Puritan shit, man. Like where you can.
It's the 80s,
right? And they're doing all mounds of cocaine, all sorts of like. But I'd assume there was some sort of like racial component.
Absolutely. Hugh Hefner's doing this in the 50s.
You know what I mean?
Hugh Hefner's doing the same thing in the 50s.
How dare he? You know what I mean? How dare he
rap about pussy?
See, to even say it, because it's vulgar, right? Maybe because, and that's one of those things that you kind of like. When I'm at a bar with somebody and I tell them that hip hop is everywhere and everything, you know what I mean? It's the most influential since it was birthed. Almost not instantly, but like very quickly became the pusher of all culture across all gambits. You know what I mean? Maybe that speaks to it because other people were saying it, but when hip hop said it, it said it louder and it said it to younger audiences. And now all of a sudden, so-and-so is senator of Wisconsin or some shit, and his little 8-year-old daughter's like, that fuck that pussy, that bitch. What is that shit? You know what I mean?
It's Uncle Luke, daddy.
She's not reading Playboy. You know what I mean? She's not in there looking at Hugh Hefner's whatever. The little boy might be, maybe, but so was dad. dad's reading Playboy. So if son reads Playboy, it's like, oh, son, come on. You know what I mean?
Well,
But if dad's not fucking rapping the loop, but son's rapping the loop, and he's popping pussies and doo-doo brown and all of that shit, and it's not a good look for Senator McPherson, from whatever his name is, you know?
that was happening across the board. Even within hip-hop itself, they were having a separation of I guess, power, right? Because they looked at Uncle Luke as competition, but they were saying that Southern rap, bass music was not hip-hop.
Right.
Like, what is that? That's dance music. That's not hip-hop.
Well, they said everything was either beef, you know, New York beef with every fucking body, because it wasn't the way it was birthed to this day. And to some extent, they're right. You know, if we're just talking about what it was, what you guys made it, then you're right. It's not the same thing. You're absolutely right.
But it is.
But that it's not that. It's not that. Now it's this. You know what I mean? That ain't even that no more. You know what I mean? It's this now. So it's not that. You're right. It's not that.
You think in 50 years, because something Uncle Luke even said, he said that Southern hip hop, will be the end all of hip hop. Even though it started in New York, because the Southern, from let's go South Carolina to Texas, right, and everything in between, is our map for Southern hip hop. And in the future, I mean, Southern hip hop is at the top, going on 20 years now. You know what I mean? New York is kind of take a second place to a lot of Southern culture. In 50 or 100 years, will we even be talking about the little blimp? Other than the fact that it started there, it will look like a speck in the spectrum of the time of hip hop. It will look like a speck, because if we're going on 20 years and in let's say 40 years, Southern hip hop is still the more popular hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's crazy.
I disagree. And this is simply because of how it all started. The Big Bang, bro. Like, do we forget about the Big Bang, even though all sorts of crazy shit happened after the Big Bang and things were discovered and crazy in the spectrum of the world? Not you think of when it started. It was like, where did it start? You know? So it's always, to me, I'm not even like a head. I'm not a hip hop head. Clearly, like, I don't have all the history readily available in my brain. I know what I like. I know what I grew up on. I know, you know, all of these things. But if I'm just talking about like creation and like what's important there, it's not even a speck, bro. It's just like a crazy nuclear explosion of creativity and timing and people being prepared and talented. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's kind of like when you think about rock and roll, all you think about is the crazy white bands, when rock and roll was really started by black.
Not if you know what rock and roll is for real.
Yeah, but the majority of people don't even look at it like that.
Right, the majority of people don't matter though. If they're not A, contributing funds by buying shit, or B, contributing to making and like living in it. So if you make it and live in it, then you know where rock and roll started. If you're buying it, at least, even if you're coming from a place of ignorance, at least you're contributing some funds to keep that kind of like cycle going. Even if you're just, I love rock and roll because it's the white person's thing or whatever.
If more Southern music gets purchased, therefore there's more Southern consumers, and they like I said, in 40 years they look back, they're like, oh yeah, there was a Jamaican kind of dude in the South playing bass music the same way Kool Herc was.
Yo, you know what? I always say it's not a crime to be wrong and ignorant. You could walk around being wrong all the time. Like, my friend always used to want to like argue people that he heard like away from. He just like hear things and want to get into like conversations with people about how they're wrong. And I'm like, well, how does it bother you that they're just sitting over there being wrong? If you know they're wrong, let them be wrong. So if somebody says some dumb shit like that, you could tell them like what the truth is if you feel like it, which I do sometimes. But if they want to become all like, nah, you know, that's a white person's thing for, say, rock and roll. Like, say somebody's out there talking about how amazing Elvis was and amazing the Beatles are and the Beach Boys and whatever, you know what I mean? And they just say something ignorant like black people couldn't have did that, some shit. And then you're just like, well, and you hit them with that and they say something stupid back. You're like, all right, I'm like, all right, man. But initially I probably wouldn't even say anything.
That's
because
crazy.
it doesn't like,
It's crazy.
I can walk past people at work like they don't exist. You know what I mean? Like, if you say something crazy rude to me that if we were out in public, I'd get in your face about, just because you say it here in this area and the way you kind of like, if you have something to say to me about work, boom, you kind of like, there you are. Otherwise, I'm like, boom. I'm like a little horse with those things. And I can do it almost across the board in my life. And
it's crazy that you're saying that because that's the spirit of Uncle Luke.
Yeah.
Like his adversity, everybody just thought, oh, he's just a profanity guy.
Yeah.
He just wants to talk about sex. Nah, this guy was progressively changing the way
world.
we take music by adding the parental
Not even
advisory.
just music, yeah.
He's like, oh, you don't want to buy my records because I'm not on the radio? Well, I'll get on music video jukebox and they'll promote my song and I'll still go off.
Yeah.
I had no radio play, but I still sold 500,000 records. Like he had no record label,
Florida,
so he pressed up his own records.
The more we do this shit, the more I'm like, you know, people say Florida man and like Florida's crazy. It's like Florida got some dope shit, man. Like
and nobody
they had
even
in
like
history. Like Florida's got some, and they continue to surprise me.
Me too.
You continue to surprise me
But
because
I'm
you hit me with the call. I come through, and then I'm always like, "What?" Like the shit about the T-Pain shit last week about how it was used to see the depths of like
oil. Yeah,
for oil. It's like, what the fuck? That's crazy as shit. And now the motherfucker makes millions of dollars singing it. Same thing with this thing. It's like, I know I'm about to hear some shit that's gonna blow my mind.
That's how, bro. That when I was doing the research, that's exactly how I felt. I'm like, I can't believe all the shit this guy did. I thought he was just making bitches eat each other out on stage. No, he was revolutionary in the way he moved in the game and just created his own lane. And he made bitches eat their pussies.
Nah,
Kimberly, what do you think about bitches eating pussy?
Face down, ass up, that's the way we like to fuck. Well, goddamn, this must be another Miami story. Hey, we want some pussy. Must be the Miami national anthem.
Kimberly,
if I had an
damn.
uncle in real life, I would want it to be Uncle Luke. Luther Roderick Campbell, born December 22, 1960, also known as Luke Skywalker, Uncle Luke, and simply Luke, is an American rapper, promoter, record executive, and actor. He is best known for being the former leader of rap group 2 Live Crew, and star of his own short-lived show on VH1, Luke's Parental Advisory. As a result of one of the group's songs, which used a parody of Roy Orbison's Oh, Pretty Woman, Campbell was party to Campbell via Cuff Rose Music, Inc., which was argued in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. As a result, the Miami New Times described Campbell as the man whose booty-shaking madness once made the U.S. Supreme Court stand up for free speech. While working as a cook at MT Sinai Hospital in Miami Beach, Campbell was a concert promoter in Miami, bringing all the hot rap groups of the early 1980s to the city. In 1983, he enrolled in an 8-week study course at public radio station WDNA, learning basic audio editing and production techniques. In 1984, he took notice of a single coming from California named Revelation by 2 Live Crew, which consisted of 2 rappers, Fresh Kid Ice and Amazing V, and a DJ, Mr. Mix. The single was a smash hit on the South Florida club circuit, so he brought them from California to Miami for a performance. He took a special interest in the group and began managing them. The group eventually fully relocated in Florida without Amazing V, and in 1986, 2 Live Crew recorded Throw the D with Ghetto Bass on the B-side.
Throw the
They went
D.
into a joint venture with Campbell to start Luke Skywalker Records, which was also his first MC name. Shortly after he joined 2 Live Crew. In April of that year, brother Marquis joined the group in Miami. Campbell gave the 2 Live Crew a record deal and officially joined the group. They exploded on the local scene with their gold-selling debut album, The 2 Live Crew Is What We Are, 1986. This made Luke Skywalker and his bandmates rap superstars in that area. In 1988, the group released their second album, Move Somethin'. It was certified gold and featured the singles Move Somethin' and Do Wah Diddy Diddy. The album improved on the charts from the previous album, making it to number 68 on the Billboard 200 and number 20 on the top R&B/hip hop albums chart. Campbell decided to sell a separate clean version in addition to the explicit version of the album, Move Somethin', 1988, produced by Mr. Mix. A record store clerk in Alexander City, Alabama, was cited for selling a copy to an undercover police officer in 1988. It was the first time in the United States that a record store owner was held liable for obscenity over music. The charges were dropped after a jury found the record store not guilty. Their following album Move Somethin', 1988, also went gold. Their third album As Nasty As They Wanna Be, 1989, became the group's largest seller, being certified double platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America. In 1990, the United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida ruled that the album was legally obscene. This ruling was later overturned by the 11th Circuit. It is the first album in history to be deemed legally obscene. An obscenity trial followed, in which Henry Louis Gates, Jr., addressed the court on behalf of the defendants, all of whom were eventually acquitted. Campbell was also infamous in the late 1980s, early 1990s for his association with the University of Miami Hurricanes football team. Campbell was alleged to have been behind what was referred to as a pay-for-play system, which involved cash rewards for acts such as scoring touchdowns and big hits, although Campbell has never actually donated to the University of Miami or its athletics department. In 1993, he also...
Is that pay for play? Or is that being rewarded for doing well?
Yeah, because he was such a big fan, he would just hit off the players, and he really changed Miami's football game.
Like, how is that pay for play exactly?
Because he's kind of he's incentivizing the kids
to play well,
to play better, and he's not supposed to pay them. It's an ethical thing. You're right.
No, but like I hear the ethical part of like diving, like purposely altering the game so that I can figure out how to make money. But like, you touchdown, I give you $1,000. You score a touchdown.
Right. It's hypocritical because that's what's going on in the NFL.
You want to. They're getting paid, yeah.
But you're not supposed to do that at that level because they want to build.
Because it's illegal. No.
They want to build a certain a certain vibe when it comes to playing the game. You should be good and not get rewarded monetarily.
Bullshit. They not. I mean,
it definitely will inspire a kid because he's not paying these little rich kids. He's paying a poor kid that's coming from a poor environment and incentivizing them because he could go sell crack or do something else.
I know it's awesome. Shit, I lost it. No, they gave the NCAA. They gave them the right to make money, to profit off their names. So like EA Sports or some shit like that makes NCAA.
Right.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. It's like, how is that?
To go public with various violations by University of Miami's athletic department, specifically their football program, if Ryan Collins, a black player, wasn't named their starting quarterback for that season. 1990 saw the release of Band in the USA. 1990. Originally credited as Luke's solo album featuring 2 Live Crew and in later editions credited as a 2 Live Crew album. The album included the hits Do the Bart and the title track. It was also the very first release to bear the RIAA standard parental advisory warning sticker. It peaked at number 20 on the Hot 100. The eponymous title single is a reference to the decision in a court case that its album As Nasty As They Wanna Be was obscene. The decision would later be overturned on appeal. Bruce Springsteen granted the group permission to interpolate his song Born in the USA for it.
Nice.
Displeased over the decision of Florida Governor Bob Martinez, who, on being asked to examine the album, decided it was obscene and recommended local law enforcement take action against it, and over the subsequent action of Broward County, Florida, Sheriff Nick Navarro, who arrested local record store owners on obscenity charges for selling the group's albums, and the subsequent arrest of members of the group on obscenity charges. The group included the song Fuck Martinez, which also includes multiple repetitions of the phrase Fuck Navarro. The group found 2 other men with the same names, and had them sign releases, as they thought that this action would make it impossible for Martinez or Navarro to sue them. That same year they released Live in Concert is the first and only live album by American rap group.
Well, they found some random person named Martinez. No, I'm not talking about the judge. I mean, it's coincidental.
Group 2 Live Crew and their 5th record overall. It was released under the Effect subsidiary label of Luke Records, a move that was deemed necessary for the company to be able to release additional 2 Live Crew material outside of their distribution deal with Atlantic Records. The album peaked at number 46 on the top R&B/hip hop albums. Sports Weekend, As Nasty As They Wanna Be, PT2, 1991. Is the 6th album overall and 5th studio album by the 2 Live Crew, released in 1991, and the sequel of As Nasty As They Wanna Be. A clean version was released later that same year titled Sports Weekend, As Clean as They Wanna Be Part 2, and was the sequel of As Clean as They Wanna Be. This would be the last studio album by all original members of the Two Live Crew. From that point on, all the release by Two Live Crew would always vary, having one or two member of the original lineup missing, by the exception of Fresh Kid Ice. The Two Live Crew was an American hip-hop group from Miami, United States, which had its greatest commercial success in the late 1980s to the early 1990s. Fronted by Luke Campbell, they were considerably controversial in the US due to the pornographic content in their songs, particularly on their 1989 album As Nasty as They Wanna Be. They're also infamous for the court cases fighting for and protecting the First Amendment, and becoming the reason why music has parental warning labels.
We wouldn't get none of these crazy albums. Any of the 1990 hip hop albums that you like that was talking about fuck this or whatever would not exist.
Right.
You would never get your Biggies, your Tupacs, your T.I.s, your Gucci Manes, none of these people, because there would have been
Just
a
not
precedent.
as raw. Just not as raw.
Well, the things that happened is that because he won the case, that set a precedent. Because if he would have lost the case, then every rapper after that would have had to go to court and figure out.
Fiddlesticks.
Thank God for America, bro. This is where America shines, on things like this. You know what I mean? Because when all these conservative so-called whatevers, right, well, politicians, judges, whatever, they want to take this out, governments, the real law of the government is going to be supreme, right? The Supreme Court is going to be like, nah, this is what the people want.
Right.
Let the people have what the people want. And you got to credit Luke. He used to have a clean album and a dirty album. That's why he invented the parental advisory sticker. Mm-hmm. He said he got it. He was inspired by the movies that were rated R, PG-13 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he used to make a clean album. And then the one with the sticker was the dirty album. And he would call all the distributors and all the record stores and say, listen, do not sell the parental advisory album to anybody younger than 21, or maybe it was 18.
He was 18, yeah.
And so he knew who he would even say that, let's say a promoter would hit him up about a show and say, hey, come out and do a show. He would ask, well, is it going to be like a teen audience, or is it going to be an adult audience? Because we will cater our performance to that specific audience. You know what I mean? So
he's playing ball.
Yeah, man.
But they hated him for his content. Because, like you said,
hated him. Fuck Martinez.
He was having public displays of extreme affection.
I'm Phraydoe Peans.
I'm still Chris Thompson.
And this is the Fresh Produce Florida podcast. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Share this with the world. And don't be afraid to pee on bitches if you have to.
Don't pee.
Ask their permission, though. Don't be doing like a R. Kelly. We see what happened to that young man.
Get permission
older man.
from the women, and then don't do it.
Peace and love, y'all.